Welcome to Talking Mopars episode number 107. This is part 2 of the Facebook live stream that I did with some of my friends from the Motley crew of Mopars. We had Chris Maddox from the Madfro Monroe and Big Blocks Garage podcast, Blake Anderman from DIY Hemi, and of course we couldn't do one of these without our friend Johnny Mopar. We also had my buddy Trevor join us for a little bit on the show as well. This is part 2 of 3 since we went close to 3 hours, and as usual, we had a great time talking Mopars. So without further ado, if you are a Mopar enthusiast, then you are in the right place. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into the best Mopar enthusiast-driven podcast on planet Earth, and I'm your host, Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter, and this is Talking Mopars Live.
You're listening to Talking Mopars with the Mopar Hunter, your direct connection to all things Mopar.
Blake, what have you been up to lately, man? You've been kind of quiet. I know you did Cruising the Coast, which I am super excited for because I did get approved for that vacation. So I'm heading to the Bayou, dude. We're cruising the coast next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It has been, oh, man, I've been everywhere, I feel like.
You can tell
Yeah.
the two of us are from Central Time because it's way later here.
No, yeah, we're getting there day by day. It's been fun. But the road can get tiring. I mean, Chris and Johnny, you guys have been on the road a lot too. Yeah, so as of recently, did do Cruising the Coast, which is always fun. And I think I've talked about it in the past. They have a specific Mopar event there, and I didn't make it because my work schedule got shifted. I actually had to work on that day, and I wanted to run the car autocross, but again, work, I couldn't make it for the cutoff. They only run the autocross Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So by the time I got off of work, there was no way I could make it in time to get a few laps in. So I'm having withdrawals. I didn't get to do it at Mo Party. I think that's one thing that we all kind of had in common. I forgot my helmet, so I couldn't race. Right.
Oh,
and
man.
yeah, I wasn't gonna make a big deal out of it. We went to like even local motorcycle stores or anywhere around we could try to find one because they had some for sale there, but I think they were like $300, $400 for a helmet. And I'm just like, I have one at home. That was the argument I kept saying is I got one at home. Would I really pay, let's say I get 3 passes in. Do I really want to spend an extra $100 per lap to run the car? It's like the math just doesn't add up,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't go, wasn't able to run it. And the way Mo Party does it, and this was a little bit disappointing. I had a blast, don't get me wrong. Is if you have the package where you can do all the races, the drag race, the autocross, the show and shine, all that stuff. I wanted to do it all. I really wanted to put the car through the ringer. We went back to tech at the drag section, and they said, "Oh, I think they call it the Grand Champion competitor." Grand Champion competitor series, right? So it's like you get to do all the events. We went back there and he said, "Oh, you're in the Grand Champion class. You have to go tech in at autocross." And I was like, I just left autocross and he said I had to come back here, but okay, go back on that side. And it's a much more difficult tech. So I've never ran the car on the drag strip. I don't know what it runs. Heck, it could run a 15 or a 14 for all I know. I don't know. So
it's probably 14.
What's that?
It's a 4-speed, so it's probably 14.
Well, I think 14 and slower, you don't need a helmet, right?
Exactly. It's 13
Right.
or it's like 13.5 or something like that. You don't need a helmet. So I'm like, I'll just go drag race it. Well, they wouldn't tech it because they said, well, because of your package, you have to go tech at autocross. Autocross wouldn't tech. They wouldn't even look at the car because I didn't have a helmet to show them. So they didn't even pull the clipboard out. They said, you have no helmet. We're not teching your car. I'm like, oh, dang, that sucks. So it was like dead in the water. But we had fun and we just walked around. But that was
Yeah.
my strikeout there. And then when I got to the coast with work and everything, I didn't get to run it. So I haven't ran it in quite a while. It wasn't running all that great at Mo Party, to be honest. I thank these gentlemen here, Chris and Maddox, helping me. I had it up on the back of the trailer, just, trying to check things out. Really what it was, lo and behold, it had some really old spark plugs in it. I pulled them out. I looked at them. They looked fine. The coloration wasn't bad. I wasn't seeing like a lean or a rich condition, but yeah, it was a spark plug. So I had some ignition hesitation.
Huh.
Before cruising the coast, I finished installing the vintage air system. So the AC was working, new plugs, cured it,
Go.
ran like a top.
Yeah, buddy.
So I racked up somewhere between like 750 and 800 miles on the car that week.
Wow.
Yeah, so I drove it from South Louisiana to South Mississippi 4 times. So yes. Yeah, so I mean, really put the Hemi through the ringer. So it was like I got off of work Wednesday and I was like, okay, I want to go at least down there to check in to the registration booth, get my certificates, get the map, because it's like a passport. You go to all the cities, and when you enter the city, they stamp your passport and you turn it in at the end of the week. I wanted to get all of that stuff because I knew come Thursday when I got off of work, my family and I were going to leave out to go back. So I said, hey, before I put my kids and wife in this car and drive it for 2.5 hours, I want to make sure it's going to make it. I mean, I've always driven around town with no problems, but never on the interstate doing 70 plus with a 4-speed, So I'm like, okay. So I took it through these little back roads. I was able to make it the entire way on the back roads. No interstate. And the trip really took like 3 hours because it was a lot of stop and go through these little 1-horse towns. And it did really well. So I was like, okay. Got there at 4:59. I pulled into the registration tent. Like they were like packing shit up. They were just like putting in boxes, like getting ready to go home for the night. And I'm like, no. So they checked me in. I got my credentials. And my in-laws were there with my father-in-law's truck that I'd been working on. He's got a 49 Chevy bubble truck. So I went check in with them, see how they were doing. We had dinner together, and then I came straight back home. So I drove like 3 hours there, got the tech card, made one pass on the strip, met with my in-laws, and then drove. I hopped on the interstate and I said, I'm going to let it sing on the interstate. Got on the interstate, course 4-speed, 1-to-1 ratio, right? And it's just like RPMs. I have all the RPMs, like, just going down the interstate. And I'm sitting here, I'm like 16-gallon tank. I wonder how good this is going to do. Because even though it's modern fuel injection, it's like, I mean, it's like 2,800 RPMs. Like it's up there, 355 gears, 20.
Still, yeah.
26-inch tall tires. I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I kid you not. I got 17 point whatever miles to the gallon coming home.
Pretty good.
I was like,
that's impressive.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And I went a little faster through New Orleans on the way home. I made sure that you don't slow down in New Orleans. You just don't do it. So went through, came home, got some sleep. And then Thursday night, we had a bunch of orders stacked up. It was a really good week for DIY Hemi. And I just looked at my wife. I said, I got to get these orders in the delivery. I got to get them to the post before we leave. Right. So I said, you just take my truck and the kids, go meet up with your family down there. They rented a Airbnb. You go do that, and I'll come when I'm done with all the work. So tuned a couple computers and I think a wiring harness assembly test, got it all packaged up, ready to ship out. And I said, okay. And I left out of here, I think it was like 10, 11 p.m., something like that. So I drove through the night back to Mississippi in the car. Again, like my father-in-law had my trailer, so I was like, well, let's see how it does in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it did flawless. We drove up and down the coast. It was like 30 miles or whatever of coastline all week long, up and down, back and forth. And I'm just watching the odometer just spinning. I'm like, man, this thing it's a beast, you know? But I was sad that I didn't get to do the racing part of it because it's fun, you know, get in there
Yeah,
and
yeah.
cut up. There's the last city we usually go to is Pascagoula, and it's like the very east side of the Mississippi coast, close to Alabama, and the cops there are legit cool. So they're like, hey, we know we're kind of far away from the main action. When you roll into the checkpoint where you actually have to show your credentials to get in where the classics go, the cops are literally there like telling you like, so you know, to get in, you have to do a burnout, right? And I'm like,
That's awesome.
really? And my little boys, like, they love it. They're in the back seat, and I kind of
Yeah.
look back over my shoulder, and they're like, and so
Nice.
I just did a little clutch dump and just kind of, pulled off. And the cops were kind of like, eh. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh man. I was like, I gotta drive this thing home, okay? And they're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
sure, buddy. Sure you do. Yeah, sure.
Right.
So that was fun. I drove it back home that Sunday, and just been driving it around. But there is a night enduro cross tomorrow here at the Louisiana State Trooper Proving Grounds, the Emergency Vehicle Operations Center. It's basically this huge track in North Baton Rouge where they train the state troopers in high-speed pursuits. There's a massive skid pad. There's a road course with traffic lights and all kind of stuff. They do pit maneuvers and whatever. So the local region for SCCA, Sports Car Club of America, that's the ones that do those track events. They rented it out tomorrow night for a night run, a night race. So, doing the actual driver challenges and whatnot. I was, all amped up about it. And they're like, yes, this is going to be fun. Endurocross is like an extra long autocross, right? So you're in there for the long haul. And then I was reminded that we had some friends' Halloween party to go to, and I'm like, God, I'm like,
Oh no.
I can't get a break. It's like,
Damn.
0 for 3, right? And so I'm just like, okay, I love them. They're good friends of ours. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's next time. And my wife sent me a text this morning. She's like, hey, I don't know why, but that Halloween party got canceled. And I'm like, yep, going racing. So it looks like the clouds are going to part. I'm going to actually be able to run it.
Sweet. So you're going to mount
tomorrow
up
night.
some GoPros, right?
Yeah. I have them. I'm actually looking at my video equipment bag on the shelf here. So
Nice.
Good.
it's fun. The cars, it's been fun. I had just playing around town, putting some marks on the pavement and whatnot. And it's good. We've been pretty busy and travel's been so busy. Sometimes it's good just to hop in it and just, go get something to eat,
Hell yeah.
It's just, so I'm excited for what's to come. We got a lot of good, all of us, we got some good events coming up next year. I definitely want us to document Cruising the Coast like I've been telling you guys about. This year was a 25th anniversary. I know I talk to you guys about it all the time, but I think until you experience it, you don't really fully understand the full breadth of how big this is.
Yeah.
It's it was 9,000, quote me, like 9,800 cars this year, I think.
That's insane.
Registered.
Well,
Not included unregistered.
And when you think about Biloxi, because it starts in Biloxi, right?
No, it actually starts in Bay St. Louis.
Where's that at?
Base St. Louis is pretty much at the Louisiana-Mississippi state line, like Slidell, Louisiana. So it almost
Okay,
goes
so
from
it's a
the
little
Mississippi.
further.
Yeah, it goes from like it's more westward, right? So it goes from like the Louisiana state line to pretty much the Alabama state line.
Right. Yeah. So that's a pretty huge chunk of land. I mean, I've been to Biloxi, and
Hmm.
it's a couple hours from Biloxi to New Orleans. So
It's one and
is
some
it an hour?
change.
Okay, hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half. So
Mhm.
if you think about cruising that and hot rods that entire strip,
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
pretty amazing, especially on the southern border. I know that California does stuff like that all the time, and it's on the West Coast, and they've
Mhm.
got the whole seaboard and all that stuff. But whenever you start lining up everybody from Arkansas and Tennessee and Kentucky and Missouri and everybody
Yeah.
from our area instead of from over there, and you start packing them out on that southern border, I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
got to be awesome. Off the hook.
I just wonder why
Yeah.
no one's really done a good video coverage or a documentary or whatever you would call it of the event. It's interesting.
It's
Like,
coming.
so you have the guy Dennis Gage, the muscle, the handlebar guy. He's
My
out
classic
there.
car.
Yeah,
That
my
guy,
classic
yeah.
car. He's out there every
Yep.
year. Of course, you got like Courtney Hanson and a whole bunch of like celebrities that go down there for autographs and whatnot.
Yep.
But I have never, even my classic car, I've never seen an episode that really explains what it is and how big, how massive it is.
Yeah.
This one event brings millions and millions of dollars of economic boost to this region. So it's crazy how one car show can have that much of an impact on the local economy.
So
Yeah, well, and it's funny because you bring that up, and we have a similar situation here in Arkansas. We have Bikes, Blues, and Barbecues in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and it's 40 minutes from my house. And it's not as big as Sturgis, but everybody talks about Sturgis, and everybody talks about how huge it is and how crazy, and they go over the top about the big rally there. Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue in Fayetteville is enormous, and it brings, like you said, millions of dollars of revenue. It's a huge deal. There's car shows. It's basically 5 cities. I mean, it's all of Northwest Arkansas. It's a huge deal here, and nobody outside of this area and outside of the motorcycle community knows anything about it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
So,
yeah.
I was talking to a friend today, and we're kind of talking about something down these veins. And I think this is my opinion, but I think when it comes to like the big TV channels, most of those shows are more about the personalities of the people on those shows. You know what I mean? And so I think like, the handlebar guy, they're there to film him and what he's got to talk about. And he's maybe capturing 5 or 10% of the event, but they could only they got to cram it into one episode, everything that's going on. And so too much of it gets left out. But I think it's also an opportunity for guys like us, because on YouTube, we have all this freedom to do whatever the hell we want, capture whatever we want. And even with us, it's difficult because like at Duct Tape Drags and even Muscle Cars at the Strip, I think, Chris was like on the live thing like the whole time he was there, right? And there's like so much shit going on, and you as a participant, you're kind of a little bit torn because you're like, do I capture all of this? And then you're sort of like dedicated to capturing the event, and you're sacrificing a little bit of your ability to participate in it, and experience it.
Yeah.
Or do you like put the cameras down and just watch it, and take it in and enjoy it, be selfish, right? And just like absorb it for
Mhm.
yourself. And so it's hard. It's hard to go, well, I'm going to capture everything that's here, put it on a YouTube channel or whatever. You know, you're still going to miss stuff. You're still going to miss stuff, but you also want to participate. You know, I think it
Yeah.
would be awesome if all of us could get together for something like that, because I think it would be cool, like kind of like how you guys, when you guys went to Mo Party and you guys were in the Challenger, you know, Chris and Blake were in the Challenger, and then Chris and Matt were in the truck or whatever, filming you go by. It's like, dude, that is so cool. That is cool.
That
That
was
was awesome.
You guys did a good job with that. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
And if we could team up like that and, you know, have some of us sort of like capturing it while some of us are experiencing it as well, I think that would be off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got roasted for the muscle cars at the strip stuff because, like you were saying, Johnny, I wanted to experience it like real time. So I'm holding my phone and I'm like looking over my phone, not realizing that my shot isn't exactly perfect. And
You're like this.
dude, they were spit roasting me over an open fire. It was so bad. I was like, wow.
Well,
Lift the camera.
Dude, so much hate.
So that was-
It's like trying to ask my grandparents to take a photo of us. It's like they got their thumbs over it and they're like,
Yeah.
No, I'm just picking on you,
So-
Chris.
No, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, no,
It was
that was
bad.
part of the problem. That was part of the problem at Mo Party, and honestly, what I decided day one actually was when I'm recording for the people that we're recording for, I'm going to get 100% of what I get. But whenever I turn the camera off, I'm going to be selfish, and this is my event, right?
Yeah.
Because there was
absolutely.
a couple times where I just stood there with our little yellow vest on that we had to wear and looked around and went, man, I'm right in the middle of this. And I can walk out on that autocross course if I want to. And I can walk up next to this drag strip and I can get whatever shot I want to get. And I can watch this however I want to watch it.
That's
And
cool.
I enjoyed it
That was fun.
how
Yeah.
I wanted to enjoy it for a little bit. And then I got the camera out and then I got the content. Because, I mean, ultimately, this is our passion, right? And we're documenting it for people that can't be there, which is awesome. And it's a huge privilege for us to be able to do that. But at the same time, we've worked hard to get there, right? And so if we're there, I'm going to enjoy it for about 10 seconds before I hit the record button, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best things that I saw was Chris driving by on the golf cart. Like, I mean, we're just sitting there just BSing underneath the tent, and I see Chris come by riding shotgun on this golf cart, just like, woof, and he's just getting footage the whole time. I'm like, that man is having a good time right there. That's what it's all about.
What you didn't see is my live stream going in and out and me like looking at it like, you son of a bitch, I swear to God I will throw you out of this golf cart.
Well, look, I want to tell you this.
Yeah.
I know you're upset about the footage thing. I was upset about the helmet thing. In that moment, we were like, in our own minds, we're making it out to be much worse than it actually was. We still had a killer time. A killer time.
Once you guys, so everybody passed out and I had to go catch a plane the next morning. So I left at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And the whole drive, I got lost, by the way. I didn't go the right way. I listened to my GPS. I'm driving on the blackest country road I've ever seen. And I'm driving like, I can see on the GPS that the highway is like a few miles over. But I'm like, I'll just take this little country road. It was so dark. But the whole time I was just like, it kind of sunk in. I was like, that was awesome. I was like, I cannot wait to do that again. And the whole time I was just like, okay, next time I'm going to be ready for next time. I almost wish I would have just, I got decent stuff. I'm still looking through, I'm trying to salvage something cool out of it. So I have footage, but I gotta really chop it up and stuff. But yeah, it was just so much fun. And same thing with muscle cars at the strip. I had a lot of fun there. I think it's going to be bigger. Next year is the 20th anniversary. So hopefully,
oh wow,
Johnny, I should fly out to Johnny and we should take the Charger. We should drive the Charger out, Johnny. I'll pay for gas. I'll pay for gas.
Oh,
let's drive that sucker out to Vegas, dude.
All right. Oh, I'm gonna have to get an overdrive, I think.
I think so. And the event's in March, so get it ready.
Bring the Molly. I'll
Right.
meet you there.
All right, we're going to bring on a friend of the show, Trevor. Trevor's been waiting patiently in the wings.
Yeah.
Sorry, we talk a lot.
We do. Trevor,
Hey,
what's
it's
up, buddy?
okay. I love hearing talks about Mopars. I am great. You know, I'm listening to Brothers of the Emblem Mother Mopar.
So what were you saying about this Coronet?
Oh, I'm a proud owner of a B body now, according to the
When did you get that?
I got it last weekend. I sold my buddy a Dodge, and then I was like, one more time, and he's like, sure. So I'm on a trailer, and we're going up over the hill on I-5, and I'm like, hey, does the tire feel flat? And he's like, oh, it is flat. And then it completely blew up. So 3 hours of sitting on the highway waiting for my buddy to come to us in his Hummer. So we get the tire off. He brings his tools. It was like the best stop on I-5 because we had a really big shoulder, but the exit at least 10 miles apart. So we get yeah, I know. So we get around, go to Schwab, $50 for their tire, go back, put it on, and a 4-hour trip turned into like a 12-hour trip because we left at like 11:30 from where the trailer is, and we get back like 10 at night, and I'm like, God, I don't know if that's my grandpa or God saying I'm gonna make this hard on you.
So what's the story on the car?
Well, the guy I got it from a friend. His name's Darren, and he comes from a long line of Mopar guys. His dad has a Ford, like a something Ford Coupe with a I want to say like a 532 Hemi in it, all naturally aspirated, making about 1,100 horsepower. It has an 871 blower on it, making 100 horsepower, and he took videos, and there's nothing sounds like a blown Hemi, nothing. And he's like, don't you ever sell my car, you hear me? And I'm like, I don't on it because they're only getting hard to find, you know.
Yeah. So what are your plans with it?
And it even, well, I paid $2,300 for it, and he gave me a 40 with full forged internals. All I need to do is find good heads and an intake, and I'll throw that in there. But I'm working within my price range, you know. So I got a whole car for $2,200, and
Nice.
I'm gonna go through AMD because I don't care about matching anymore. It used to be a 318 car.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, look, if you need heads, talk to Johnny.
Yeah.
He'll tell you.
I'm not selling any heads.
No, I'm just talking about how to turn a car into a set of cylinder heads. That's what I'm saying.
That's
so,
true.
you know,
That is
Do a
very
little
true.
horse trading.
little horse trading. He can show you the ways.
I gotta tell you, when I'd never seen really any of your faces before now, and I thought Johnny Mopar looked like Peter Fonda from Very Crazy Larry.
Nice.
Oh,
I
grow
meant
my
something
hair
totally
long.
different. Yeah, you got to paint a Charger green and get it run over by a train.
Can you imagine when Freiberger dropped Johnny Mopar's name? Can you imagine what everybody was saying? Like, Johnny fucking Mopar, who the fuck is that? You know, I wonder what everybody's like thinking about Johnny. Like, it's almost like a mythical name, like Johnny
Right?
Mopar. Like, was
You
this
think
Johnny
Mopars
Mopar
is
guy got
real last name?
Wait, you know what would be crazy? I don't know how to do this, right? But it would be crazy to go back and look at the Google search history of Johnny Mopar and see if it like peaked when he name dropped him.
Oh,
That would be crazy. I bet you could do that.
It probably does, because I know on Instagram, he's mentioned me on Instagram before, right? He put like one of those posts up, and so when I was talking to him and he was wanting to get parts from Coffee and I, right? He goes, well, I'll hook you guys up. Cause I don't know. Mike said something like, hey, you could just have these parts, and I don't know, just like recognition, or I don't know what he was talking about. And the guy, and Freiberger was like, oh, I'll hook you guys up. So I don't know what that meant. It's like, whatever. And then I want to say a couple of weeks went by. So I kind of like forgot about it. And then I went on Instagram because I didn't really go on Instagram that much. And I went on Instagram and I was like, holy shit, what the hell is going on, dude? Like there was like subscribe to friend. I follow me, follow me,
20,000 new followers.
Yeah, dude, it was just like on and on and on. I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, what the hell happened? And then I realized, he posted this thing. And so a lot of people went over and was checking me out. So it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Pretty awesome. That guy's got like such connection. I mean, as far as like tons and tons of followers, it's insane. It's freaking insane.
I was thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, he name dropped Johnny. Johnny's about to be famous.
Ride your coattails.
I thought, it would be cool if, like, I don't know if you guys have watched the Hoopty Challenge at all. So
yes,
a little bit. I love that stuff. Yeah, a lot of those guys are like social media guys, right? Or have TV shows or whatever. It's like, man, not that I'm anywhere that big, but if he like brought in like a no name, hey, we're gonna throw in this no name Johnny Mopar,
You're so right. Was it that guy? And he's on. It's a Motor Trend show. It's the Automotive Mythbusters. There's this guy. I think his name's Brian. But so he's on that show, and he has been in. I think he was either on the Hoopty Challenge or the Holiday Hoopty Challenge.
Holiday.
So if you really follow him and his lineage of how he got to where he was, it's exactly that, Johnny. So he started out. I want to say one of his first appearances. I saw him on social media, like YouTube, something like that. He had this Honda Odyssey minivan.
That's BC.
What's that? Is that BC? Is that his name?
Yeah, I knew that guy back in the day. I sat in his race car and stuff. He's a legend in the import racing community. Yeah, he's a genius. The guy is smart.
Oh yeah, you could tell
he's a chemical engineer. He's like super intelligent. Yeah.
So he started out like, really just building some stuff for him, right? Made a name for himself, kind of did the YouTube thing and, said, hey, well, I'm going to have my own shop instead of doing the corporate grind, right? And so after that, he went on to do a couple shows, and one of them was the Netflix series Fastest Car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
did you see him? Show.
Did you see him on there? So he was out there like trying to snipe down like Lamborghinis and stuff with this minivan with a freaking soccer ball rack on the top or whatever. Like, I mean, it's impressive in its own right, but he literally just kept going and he kept pushing, and now he's on Motor Trend. Like, average guy, just like us.
I have a signed picture of him back when he had a little 10-second Honda CRX. I met him at the racetrack locally and was checking out his car and stuff. And I got a signed picture. I actually saw it a few months ago when I was cleaning out my garage. I had a box full of stuff from my parents' house. And I was like, oh, shit, look at that. And then funny enough, on the Mythbusters show, have you guys been watching the show?
I haven't.
Have you seen it?
I've watched every episode. My son loved it.
So you've seen the Chop Top van stuff?
Yeah, the Chop Top van is awesome. I want one so bad.
Check this out. So the girl that you see, Rose, she actually runs customvanner.com. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to my social media, but I actually just got a fender flare kit for my van. Okay.
Yes, I did see that.
I traded that. I traded that for the 2 Pentastar porthole windows I have. Now, why would I do that? Why would I get rid of those awesome Pentastars? Because Rose from Custom Vanner is fabricating me a brand new set of Pentastars. They're going to be, they cost me a load of money, but they are in, I got serial numbers 5 and 6 of this brand new run of porthole windows that she's making. She's a hell of a fabricator. I don't know how much you guys know about like old school customs, but Jean Winfield, does that name ring a bell?
Yeah.
Gene Trainer.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
She is talented as fuck. Like,
really?
Yeah, she's got skills. And I was actually excited to see her on the show.
That's crazy. It's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, my best van story is one I told on episode 98 when my dad ran me over with the Dodge Caravan.
That's right.
That's my best van story.
Oh God. Is that what's wrong with you, Trevor?
Yeah, no kidding. Permanent imprint on me, you know.
I would wear that as a badge of honor.
Oh, I do. I love telling people that. Like, don't worry. He felt bad about it.
Have I ever told the story about when I was a young kid and my grandma ran over this lady in a crosswalk in our '85 Chrysler LeBaron?
What?
Oh man, it was so bad. So I was, Trevor, I'm going to mute you. You got a lot of static, but I'll unmute you here in a minute. So my grandma and I are driving. I must have been, we'll say 7. I was like 7 or 8. I was super young. And I was obsessed. For some stupid reason, I had to have, there was this toy store by my old house, and they had like a bunch of like gemstones and stuff, and they had fool's gold. So me being a little scandalous punk, I was like, oh, I need to get that fool's gold so I can sell it to the kids at school, tell them it's real gold, right? This is 7 or 8 year old mentality.
Shiesty.
So, shiesty, dude, shiesty. So we're at this stoplight, and it was a left-hand turn to head to our house, and the toy store was across the street on the left-hand side of the road. And I asked my grandma, I was like, oh, can we go to the toy store so I can see if they have fool's gold? And I think that we're past the statute of limitations right now. So she takes the left-hand turn, right? Not realizing, because she's distracted by me, that there's people crossing. You yield to the pedestrians.
Yeah.
There's people crossing. Well, this lady was actually jaywalking. So she was about 7 feet past the crosswalk. My grandma in this '85 Chrysler LeBaron, pointed nose and everything, just boom, hits this lady, right? And I'm 7 years old in the front seat, like, oh no. And my grandma, my little grandma, oh, so sweet. She's like, oh, and I was like, oh no. And I'm like a kid, right? And this lady is laying in the street, and I can hear her with the window up going, and this crowd of people surround the whole scene. And my grandma is like in shock that she just hit this lady. So yeah, my grandma ran a lady over in a '85 Chrysler LeBaron. She got sued. It was a nightmare, and it was all my fault. I feel bad to this day. That was all my fault. I know that lady got paid though, and I know she wasn't that hurt. I saw the whole thing. I was in the car.
Yeah.
She was a great actress though.
When I got run over, literally I was in the hospital within 5 days, and it was miraculous I even lived at all, much less completely recovered. And insurance is giving me a bunch of money when I turned 25, and I'm like, Dad, thanks for running me over. Like, come again, Trip? I'm like, Dad, thanks for running me over. They're giving me like 60 grand. I could use that money. Thanks. Could you run me over again? Like, stop it, Trevor. I'm glad something came out of it, but don't remind me of it, you know.
That lady got
I'm still here
that
to
lady
laugh
got paid.
about it, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I never did get that.
Chrysler. My Chrysler road trip story was when I bought my Ram Charger. It was up in Washington, and to my knowledge, Washington doesn't need front page, right? So I pick up my Ram Charger. I'm friends with the owner now, so 35 gallons of gas back in 2016 was kind of a lot. And so I'm driving, and I have 3 cops with the lights on, and mind you, I have no plate, and you know how bad Dodge steering gets. I'm pretty sure this thing was never replaced. And I'm driving it, it's like, and some girl's waving at me from her car, like, hi, and I'm like, I'm not waving at you. I'm taking my hands off the wheel. I'll kill us all. And every time it makes a hard left. And I don't know how I kept in the road, but I passed 3 cops with their lights on, and I'm like, oh, I'm screwed now. But I made it home without a single. I'm like, how? How does this happen? It did, but I'm like, good Lord, I'm lucky as hell right now.
That is called white privilege, my friend. If it had been me, I would have been pulled over. They would have said, "Who the hell? Oh, get him! Get him!" I know this because many years ago, I wrecked one of my cars, and I had to drive around in this pile of crap 1981 Honda Accord. Okay. And I had a bunch of my buddies. We were all piled in it, just doing stupid kid stuff. I was still a teenager, and a cop started following me, and I was completely sober, nothing in the car, like nothing incriminating. This cop follows me, pulls me over, and then gives me a field sobriety test because he says I was swerving. And I looked him dead in the eye, and I said, "Sir, I'd like to see you keep this piece of shit straight." Like, this thing is a pile of shit. And he got me out of the car. He was like degrading me too. He's like, open your mouth, and shining the light in my mouth like I swallowed drugs or something. I was like, man, get out of here, dude. I looked, it got to the point where it was so ridiculous. I looked him in the face. I said, sir, we got to stop this right now. I'm telling you, 6 drunk drivers probably passed us on the side of the road, and you're giving me a field sobriety test, and I'm dead sober right now. I was like, you're wasting both of our time. I promise you. And then he let me go. And I've never been harassed like that before. I just could not believe it. It was mind boggling to me, but.
Well, I'm wholly shocked I didn't get pulled over because my Ram Charger is bright yellow. Like, you can see this. Nobody stopped me, and I actually hate yellow, but I'm like, man, yellow is a color that makes a statement, because when you see a yellow car on the road, you get out of his way. People were doing exactly that when I was doing this thing. They got out of my way. It was perfect.
They might have looked at you, and they might have said, we would have to write so many tickets for that thing. Do you really want to sit here and do all that paperwork? I don't.
Right.
Well, they probably saw me turning that wheel like, oh, please, just stay straight. You know, I've been over the bridge to Oregon. You ever been on the bridge going over to
like Astoria area? Is that what you're talking about? Oh no,
you go by.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like going like into Portland, right?
Yeah, I was really lucky. Yeah, I bought this thing in Vancouver, but going across the bridge, I'm like, God, if this thing takes a wrong turn, I'm going right into the drink.
Oh yeah, you probably could have ran over some people in Portland. Nobody would have missed them, to be honest.
It's Portland.
Sounds like a Mustang.
Nobody likes that town.
Yeah, that town is.
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Oh no, I hate Portland. I hate Portland as much as I hate Seattle.
So when you're coming down to the south, let's pull up some real estate listings here, Chris. When you moving down south?
I really want to. Yeah. I want to. I would do it. I would do it yesterday if I could.
Oh man,
it's a matter of time. I got to get the wife 100% on board.
I got you. Look,
but hey, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Let
me tell you something. Well, 2,300 square feet, 3 acres, $97,000.
Wow.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
See, that's insane. Awesome. Now that's in Arkansas, correct?
Well,
I'm not frozen. That's just,
That's in Arkansas?
Yeah, Northwest Arkansas. That's what
Northwest
I
Arkansas.
paid. That's where I'm at. I mean, we're talking about 11 years ago, but still, there's
Okay, 11 years ago is a long time.
Well, but listen, in my zip code, in my area, there's still plenty here for that neighborhood. You can get a couple acres, you can get a decent house. You know, you're 40 minutes from like the big college town in the state. You're 20 minutes from Bentonville, which is Walmart home office. You want to have a corporate job, you can work there. There's JB Hunt, there's Tyson, there's tons of stuff. I'm telling you, this is the place to be.
Now, you said it doesn't snow.
Right.
Does it not snow, or does it snow?
It snows, but not crazy.
It only snows like 58 times a year or something like that, right?
They're 5 or 6. 5 or 6.
Okay, 5 or 6.
To Johnny, to Johnny, it's 58 times, right? To you,
exactly.
It's like half of a time, maybe, right? So we're good.
We are.
It's going to be not.
We're once every 5 to 6 years, maybe.
Yeah, but Louisiana sucks. You don't want to go down there. I mean, they've got LSU.
Look, let me tell you. I'll tell you right now. If you
the purple
don't really
and gold
care for good food, go to Arkansas. It's okay. If you want to eat well and enjoy some good warm weather, come on down to Louisiana, Texas.
Who made the best steaks while we were in Kentucky?
Hey,
well, I got
Matt knocked it out,
guys. It was good
Homeboy
talking
lives
with
like
you.
20 minutes from
Trevor,
here, so
take it easy, buddy.
My
You're welcome
man.
anytime.
No, Matt.
Hey, I
Yeah,
hope
buddy.
to talk
Cook
to you
his.
again soon. It was nice to talk to y'all.
All right, you too,
Absolutely,
buddy.
brother. We'll see you later, man.
See you, Trevor.
Matt can cook his butt off. That is true. Those are some good steaks, man.
hey,
Yeah.
Matt can cook. I can cook. Okay, I learned. I know how to cook. So
Okay.
y'all just come up here. Okay, it'll all
You know,
work out. Everything will be good.
I'm heading south. I just don't know exactly. My wife is cool with Texas. Louisiana, I probably could have convinced her, with the exception of the hurricane thing. She is not.
Right.
It's not.
No
it's not-
hurricanes in Arkansas, and I noticed that
It's really not what they make it out to be.
Razorbacks are kind of red. There's a whole color thing going on here. It's going to work out great.
See, but Arkansas is the only place when I was driving trucks over the road where I experienced any type of racism, and it scared me.
Whoa.
That was the only time.
Hold on. It's not going to happen. We're good. We're good.
It was the only time I felt threatened, and it was by an old guy in a rocking chair with a 12-gauge shotgun. He scared the shit out of me. Yeah, I didn't tell you guys that story.
No.
Oh God.
Yeah, you
Okay.
did. And I have
Did I?
all of those things. You're good. You're good. We're not going to have
Okay.
those problems.
To make a long story short, Blake, since you didn't hear the story, when I was driving trucks over the road, you only have a certain amount of hours that you can drive legally. And I was running out of hours. And I'm driving down the highway, and Chris can probably attest to this. I've never seen anything like, we don't have this kind of shit in Washington. I'm seeing billboards on the side of the road that say like Jesus saves, and then the next billboard says like XXX, truckers welcome, next right. And the company I worked
That's
for
Missouri. That's not here. That's Missouri.
Oh, this was Arkansas, dude. This is Arkansas. I was thinking to myself, wow, these people are really conflicted. I don't know what's happening here. But my company was super strict about where you park the truck to sleep overnight.
Yeah.
So I am literally minutes away from running out of hours before I get a violation. So I take the exit past the XXX one, and I get out, and it's this farm country road. And I'm like, where the hell? There's like no shoulder. I'm like, where the fuck am I going to park this truck? I have minutes left. And I see this little tiny business. I thought it was a convenience store. So I pull into this parking lot, and it's a gravel lot, little small rinky dink building. I'm like, this is going to have to do. I'm going to have to park it here. No signage or anything. I wake up in the morning. I have to pee like a racehorse. So I'm like, I'm going to do the right thing and try it, because I'm not like some scumbag trucker who just pisses all over, right outside the truck. I'll at least be decent and try to find a bathroom. So I go inside this place because it's like 9 a.m. I go inside this place, and it turns out it's a liquor store, which is you can't park a commercial vehicle in a liquor store parking lot. That's another no-no. I didn't know it was a liquor store parking lot. So thankfully, Thankfully, there was no signage and he didn't call the police or something. But I go in there, and there's this old man. This is going to sound like I'm making it up. I walk in there, and there's this partition, and behind the partition is all the alcohol. And there's this old man sitting in a wooden rocking chair, and he's got a gun, and he's got a little TV on a little stool with the wire antennas. That you can see that he has tuned black and white TV. It's all fuzzy and shit. I'm like, wow. Right. So I walk in and I'm like, sir, do you have a bathroom? And he just looks at me and he's smoking a pipe too. This is no bullshit. And he looks at me and just shakes his head. And I'm like, you have a nice day, sir. And like I said, I had to pee like a racehorse. And what I didn't realize in the middle of the night was that it was pretty much this little podunk store and everything else was like, it was wide open. So I'm like, I can't just pee, and I had no bottles in the truck. So I was like, the guy said, no, I'm going to sneak on the side of his building and take a piss. Right. So I'm doing my business on the side of his business. And all of a sudden I hear, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, oh shit. I pissed all over myself. He came outside, scared the hell out of me and said, get the hell out of here. You're not even allowed to park here. And I was like, all right, sir, see you. Have a nice day. Thank you. And I left. But he had a very, very racist vibe. I wasn't very comfortable with that situation at all.
Wow.
I learned a valuable lesson, and that's, find a Walmart or just park on an off ramp or an on ramp. Because I could have gotten in a lot of trouble for parking in a liquor store parking lot, even though it wasn't a 24-hour liquor store or anything. But it was the most podunk. I wish I had. I don't think I had a camera phone at the time because I probably would have taken a picture of it. But it was like something out of a movie. Some
like a horror movie.
Yeah, some Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit, like Leatherface coming out of the back or something. I don't know. It was ridiculous. But yeah, that was Arkansas for me.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is that's not like my area of Arkansas, Matt's area of Arkansas, Fro's area of Arkansas. We're in the northwest area. We're pretty isolated from a whole lot of that. You might notice that I'm a nice shade brown.
That's true.
Issues.
That's true. Yeah, are you in the Native American part or what?
Yes. Well, so that's the funny thing it's funny that you say that, because my tribe is actually from up by you. You may be familiar. Bremerton is just across the bay from Seattle.
Yeah.
My tribe is from over that area.
Okay.
Yeah, Port Gamble. Right. So my tribe is actually Port Gamble, Squalum. So my whole tribal area is from up there. If I went to Oklahoma and showed up at any one of the small reservations, we may have issues. We come to Arkansas, the northwest corner at least, no problems whatsoever. Oklahoma is actually, I don't want to say more racist. Oklahoma is a lot more tribal than Arkansas is, especially this area. Once you go to southern Arkansas, central Arkansas, eastern Arkansas even, things are a little different. But this area is fantastic for everyone, for everything. There's nothing you can't do here. And like you said, Walmart's here, JB Hunt's here, Tyson's
You're really selling Arkansas right now, Chris. You're really selling it.
Listen, I'm just saying, look, I grew up in Missouri.
It's like, hey,
I grew up in Missouri, and Missouri sucks real bad. And I lived in Oklahoma.
For the record, I love white people.
Real bad.
I love white people.
This is all pretty good right here.
Okay. Yeah, I love white people.
Hey, I'm half white and half Mexican, so before anybody gets pissed off.
I have the most German last name there is.
Yeah, we got Albrecht.
In defense of Arkansas, that was the only stop I made, so I really can't judge it based on that one
Albrecht. We got Albrecht and Anderman on the show here, so we're good.
I will say that Texas definitely had a lot of Southern hospitality. I didn't make it into Louisiana. Tennessee was pretty. Tennessee was pretty cool.
Texas has really good schools. So for your daughter, their schools are phenomenal. I mean, I remember when I lived down there. This public school, right? Independent school districts, real big in Texas. I remember driving on this, down there. You'll see a lot of FM roads, farm to market. Like probably back in the 1800s, it was a old trail or something, right? You see a lot of FM roads, and I was driving down. I think it was like farm to market 2004 or something, and I'm just driving, just nothing as far as I can see in this rural part of Texas, and all of a sudden I come upon this school, and I'm like, holy geez, like, man, it's got like Olympic track and field, huge stadium, a stadium for football. Like, I mean, rival most colleges, not, not like a high school that I'm used to, massive buildings. Like, this is a full out school campus. And I'm like, holy, what university or junior what junior college is this? No, that's a typical high school in Texas. Like,
Right.
oh, the schools are phenomenal. Like, the education you get it's really awesome in Texas.
The problem with Texas that I've seen so far when I just browse real estate is all the stuff that I like is like way outside of any major city. So as far, I would have to, if I did make the move, I would have to make sure that the podcast could fund a lot of my expenses, because the amount of money that I make where I live, because it costs so much to live up here, is significant. And I was looking at some of the wages down there, and it hit me pretty hard. I was like, okay, that's why it's so cheap. But the only saving grace I have is that I do have enough equity in my house where I probably could buy a house cash and not have a house payment.
That's awesome.
But I need the podcast to just get to that next level.
More.
So there's something I wanted to talk about, which we were kind of like, we were about to segue into that, and then we went into the whole running grandma over.
Whoa.
Grandma running some lady over.
Whoa.
All right, guys, this upcoming week, I will be bringing you coverage from the SEMA show in Las Vegas. So if you can't make it down to Sin City, do not worry. I'll be there to make sure that you don't miss out. So stay tuned for content from SEMA. You will find it all on the Talking Mopars Facebook page. There you have it, my friends. Another episode of Talking Mopars is in the books. For everything you need to know about this podcast, please visit talkingmopars.com. And don't forget that you can send me your Mopar stories, questions, comments, concerns, complaints, suggestions, and everything else on your Mopar addicted mind to chris@talkingmopars.com, or leave me a voice message on my voicemail box at 209-28-MOPAR to hear yourself on the show. Also, if you'd like to help support Talking Mopars, you can do so by picking up some merch in the Talking Mopars merch shop. You can order cool things like t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, and more. I even have a Talking Mopars neck gaiter, so you don't have to look like a big old dork in that blue medical mask anymore. You can find the shop on talkingmopars.com. You can also help support the show by becoming a Facebook supporter on the Talking Mopars Facebook page, and every month you will be entered into a fun monthly giveaway. That's it, my friends. Until we talk again, I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars Live.
Thank you for listening to Talking Mopars, your direct connection to all things Mopar. Until next time, remember, no Mopar left behind.